So of all the topics I teach, I think this is the one that will create the most freedom for you, that will bring you the most financial abundance, and will also provide you with the best legacy that you can possibly create for yourself, right? I am a business owner myself. I have a big family. For those of you who know me, you know that I have 7 children with my husband. You know, we had 7 from before, with 3 together. Like, organization is a really important part of my day. And some of you have heard these concepts before. I want you to open up your minds, and, our brain learns by repetition. So I'm all about mindset and how we can use our brains to create the results we want. So before we get started, this is what I want to tell you about time. You hear people talk about time management a lot, right? It's a buzzword, like, oh, let's manage our time. But the truth is, time really can't be managed. It can't be mastered, and it doesn't have to be mastered. As Linda said, time just is. What needs to be mastered and managed is our thinking about it. I want you to think about it like money, right? Like, money just sits there. It's just papers that we agreed on that are going to be of value. What we need to manage is our mind around money, our mind around time, our mind about what's possible for us. So it's a useful construct to think about time management. But before we even get started into all the organizational stuff, I want you to understand that there's nothing that you can manage that is outside of you, right? Something external that you can't control, right? So we've created this mental construct of 24 hours and of minutes and of days and of months, and we kind of all collectively agreed on it. But then we have to manage that mental construct, right? We have to manage our minds around it. So the most important thing that I'm going to teach you today is not how to manage hours and days, although I'm very good at it now, but because I have the foundational principles of how to manage my mind. So make sure whenever you feel like there's not enough time, or there's too much time, or I can't find the time, or I'm always running after time, just know that time is always there. It's always consistent. It never changes. There's always enough time because there's always only the amount of time that there will ever be. Okay. So notice your thoughts about it. When you think about time, it's actually more valuable than money because you can't create more of it, right? Money you can always create more of. But time in itself is a limited resource. It's always consistent. It's always there, but it's a limited resource because you can't create more of it. So here's a funny concept to think about. The amount of time that you're going to spend on managing your time, on working around your time, is always going to bring you more value. Are you with me? It's like the return on investment, right? If I invest my time wisely, thinking about a time, planning, prioritizing, knowing what's really important to me, then I'm going to be so much more efficient, right? And what all of us want to know is, of course, how to get more done in less time. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to share my slides with you, and let's see if I can do this efficiently here. And it's going to just give you a couple more visuals. Okay, here we go. There you go. Can you all see this? It's all good? Okay. And we're talking about high-achieving women, right? I forgot to say that all of you are, of course, high-achieving women. You're from all around the world. You're doing great things in your life, and you just want to know, Nina, tell me how to get more done in less time, right? This is what we all want to know. Okay, so here's another thing that I want you to think about. Here's the world we live in. We live in a world of information overload and disorganization. And it's important kind of to understand what's going on first. We have to understand the symptoms before we can even diagnose the disease going on in our brains. It can be different for everyone, like depending on how you manage your life and how you manage your time. But this is kind of the overall picture. There's so much information coming at us from all sides. Okay. And our brains are not equipped to do this. So here's how most of us are operating. We have one long to-do list that never gets done. Who's with me on this one? Okay, let me see some hands. One long to-do list. This is how I used to operate. I was just like all the to-do list. Some of us are using email inbox as our to-do list. And I know this to be true because I have friends that have like 60,000 emails in their inboxes. And this is how they manage their, their communication with others. Not very efficient. Your brain can only remember like 3 things at a time. Some of us have physical files and triggers to remind us what to do, like in our physical spaces, like Post-it notes so you don't forget things. And I'm actually okay with a Post-it note occasionally, so it will remind you of a thing that you really need to do. However, if it like Post-it notes all over the place, your brain just can't cope and you will get brain fatigue. And then we try to use technology efficiently, right? We have all these notifications that are coming up that tell you what to do. It kind of given this power away. You kind of want to externalize it and, tell my phone what I need to do, right? But it's also not working very well because then you're constantly recycling and, your information is pinging. It's not a very good and efficient system. And then what happens is if you say there's information overload and the disorganization, and what you end up having is that chaotic feeling. So you end up feeling disorganized. This is what my clients say. I'm unfocused, I'm distracted, I'm anxious, overwhelmed, feeling like a failure and always behind. So of all of these symptoms of information overload, it's that inability of focus and following through that actually stands out. And I love this photo of life becoming a blur, like if you are on a carousel and there's just so much going on that you can't even cope. I mean, some people that I've worked with, they have neurological structures and conditions. They have a hard time to focus, but for most of us, it's not a problem. A lot of us are just creating this experience for ourselves internally, right? Like our brains are jumping, I have to do this, I should do this, I must do this. So here's what I want to tell you. It's not you. There's nothing wrong with you or your brain. What has happened is that over a lifetime, you've absorbed messages and ideas and beliefs around time and what you should be doing with your time and how you can become more productive and bring more value. We all have been raised and socialized to believe certain thoughts, right? Certain belief systems, and some of them do not serve us. So the way we think around time, the way we think what our world wants from us, what productivity and value is, actually impacts our organizational experience and our experience of time. Like all of this is very important, but I want you to know it's the conditioning and the programming that you had around time that is giving you the experience of time. Okay, so now that we've talked about this, let me talk about the 3 secrets of getting more done in less time, and then we can open up for questions and discussions. Okay, the first secret, and everybody is so resistant when I say that to them, you don't need more time. And we all think, well, we need more time. We think that if we had more hours in the day, then everything would get done. But the truth is, if you don't know how to use your time efficiently, having more time just won't help you. You'll just have more time to use it efficiently, right? None of us are performing at the peak performance of our brains, or the capacity of our brains, right? Recent studies show us that we use our brain like to 20, maximum 30%. So here's the thing, you have plenty of time already, but you're using it and you're wasting it to second guess yourself. Like, what are you using your time with? Like Linda was saying, what are you investing your time in? Where does your energy go? And most of the people that I know that are high achievers, leaders of organizations, entrepreneurs doing this work, what I find by talking to them and coaching them is that they're often second guessing themselves and putting themselves last, especially women. So I want you to ask yourself very honestly, like how many of you, for instance, reread emails before you send them, or you reread them after you've sent them already? Asking yourself, is this enough? Am I doing a good enough job? How many of you are constantly putting yourself last? You keep yourself available to other people, moving other people forward. So you never get to that big picture priority that you need to move forward. Okay, I want you to really ask yourself that question. So I want to give you an example of this thought, right? I have to be available for my children at all times. Like this is a thought that I used to have, and this was creating so much tension around me being an entrepreneur and me being, a mom to 7 great kids, right? And one of my clients, Anna, she came to me and said also she couldn't get anything done. And her explanation was, I'll just have to be available for my kids. Right. And I could resonate with that, but I was kind of already rewired in my brain, so I could give her some guidance. And of course, our children need us. And she said to me, there's always an emergency. There's always an urgency. There's always something happening. And she genuinely believed that was true. And to her, it was just an observation, just something that she was observing. She did have a nanny, but the thought was, I always have to leave my door open for other people. What if they need me? All day long. And she couldn't even silence her phone. She couldn't close the door. She couldn't focus and concentrate on something that she had to get done, right? So I asked her to track the activity. Like how many times would she actually be interrupted during the day? How many real emergencies were there? She gave to me and she said like, it was 2 times a week, interruptions, real emergencies, right? Where she had to jump in and really be present. So I want you to think about that, right? It's not the emergencies that create our experience of time in terms of, oh, I have to be there. It's actually that background noise in our mind that says, you have to be there for all the people. You have to be there. You have to keep your door open. So this is what's actually wasting the time. So here's the thing. You have plenty of time already. You need to stop second guessing yourself and putting yourself last. Those are the 2 biggest time wasters that I see in high achieving people. It's so common for women, especially, right? We're socialized to believe that we need to, monitor our boss's emotional state, or we need to make everybody happy. We need to keep our door open. We need to adapt. Only then are we a good woman. Only then are we a good entrepreneur. Only then are we worth something. And it's true, children need some care. I have 7 of them, but most of the time they're going to be okay. So I'm not like, these are the things that we need to rewire. Nothing will ever change. Like I can give you all of the time management systems, and there are so many out there, but nothing will ever change if you do not learn how to clean up the house of your brain and prioritize your time, protect it from within. Okay. The other thought that is really keeping us stuck is like, my work isn't good enough. It's like this thought pattern or mindset that keeps you stuck, second guessing our work. Maybe you're doing extra work or discounting the work that you have been doing that is keeping you stuck and inefficient, right? Another client of mine, Leah, she's a lawyer, and she came to me and she was like, you know what, I just want to get it all done. The reason why she wasn't actually getting her stuff done is because she wasn't billing her hours properly. And it would take her, like, she would say, well, it takes me only 3 hours to get the work done, but she would only bill 1, right? Because she didn't want to appear stupid to her clients. So if you feel like you're undercounting your work, or you're not putting the work in that you actually wanted to put in, because you're second guessing yourself or you're thinking these thoughts, this is what creates the time wasting. Okay. And also if you're people pleasing, this is another one, right? having all of these resentments coming up. Okay, very good. Let's see. Secret number two. Another thing that we tell ourselves is that we're lazy and we just need to work harder. I'm doing all of these things in my life, and my brain still comes up a lot of the time telling me, well, you're just lazy. You're just not doing enough. I'm running the coaching business, I'm doing the kids. But actually what needs to happen is we need to rest more. I know it sounds so crazy and nobody wants to believe that, especially the high achievers. We're like, what do you mean rest more? I have so much to do. But that one thought of having so much to do is actually creating the anxiety and the stress. It's not the to-do list. Like the actual items are completely neutral until you have a thought about them. So the whole purpose of life, if that's just to be working and be available for other people, then there's something that we're doing wrong in terms of the value that we're creating for the world and the gifts that we're here to give, right? So sometimes we just need to rest more and reflect and actually prioritize what it is that we want to do. So you have to learn how to believe that you deserve rest properly. And it took me such a long time to do that. Only then you can become really efficient. The more I rest, the more I get done. This is like one of my new mantras. It's undoing those thought patterns and learning how to be really properly nourished in order to give, right? It's an overused example, but that oxygen mask has always to come first on you before you can give to other people. Okay. And the third secret, before we go into questions, I want you to consider is that most of the people will come to me and they'll say, I just need more willpower. I just need to have more structure and be more disciplined, and then I'll get stuff done. And most of us are socialized to believe, especially women, that we just need to buckle down, that we just need to follow the rules. We just need to have a little bit of that male energy to push ourselves forward. And sometimes, especially women believe that they're a little bit weaker, they need a little bit more supervision. If they're left to their own devices, they just need somebody who organizes it for them. And the truth is that we're talking to ourselves really negatively, right? So if you've been trying to drive yourself with criticism, I want you to ask yourself how this is going for you. Right? Because I've been there, I've been driving myself. I've used to be a professional tennis player, and driving myself with criticism has not been helpful, right? No matter what I've done, no matter how many achievements and how many trophies I've got home, it was always this feeling of not good enoughness. And I say it's like this disease that we're living, the not good enough-itis, right? No matter what you accomplish, you won't kind of cherish it. You won't be really proud of yourself because there's always a next thing. So everything you've done, you'll discount. Like maybe you think that you happen to meet the right person at the right time, or you happen just to be lucky in the right place at the right time, and you'll discount your accomplishment and what you actually bring to the table. So what you need to do is to change your self-talk and to talk to yourself in a way that actually serves you, like resting, prioritizing, deprogramming the self-talk. The moment I started actually, first of all, resting and having that me time, talking to myself nicely, I was able to get so many great things done. And my mindset just completely changed in terms of what was actually possible for me. So maybe you consider this. Maybe you didn't get all of this stuff done because you were so pushed on yourself and so hard on yourself and pushing yourself with criticism, but maybe you get all the things done in your life despite of it. Maybe you're just at a 2 on your potential level. Maybe you can do so much more, but with the proper tools, by organizing your mindset in a way that is much more valuable. Okay, concrete things that you can do to organize your work. Honestly, like I have a system that I call, the getting done system. And it's a concrete process that you can use to organize your life, to organize your timetables, to organize your calendars. But I want you to know today, and this is really my intention, that no matter how often I teach all these mindset things, people always want to know, but how do we actually do it? Like, what are the brain hacks? What are the tricks to be more efficient and more productive? What I want to tell you is, unless you change your beliefs, nothing will ever transform. And I have all these systems and all these things that I put in place. But I want you to know that your goals can be very different, but whatever you're going to manifest in your life, you're going to need very efficient and high quality thinking patterns in terms of manifestational belief systems. I hope this makes sense to you. So I want you to think about imagining like that you have a system in your brain that will always tell you everything that you have to do. And you know when it will be done, because you're not focused on to-do lists, you're actually focused on result lists, right? I know what will be done at that time of the day. And you don't feel overwhelmed ever. You're never behind. You don't have to be mean to yourself. I think this is the biggest one for me, to be in self-love and to be in integrity with myself and still create extraordinary results. Okay.